Hi, everyone. My name is Timothy Mitchell. That's what the sign says. And now that the sign has said what it needs to say, we'll make it go away. I'm here to introduce a new product. The new product also, I'll cover a few other modifications I made to the product and why. I'll explain some of my methodology behind bringing out a new product and things. I didn't bring the new product. I'm just testing it and then telling you about it. This is a product by HP Media. The HP Media. We have new banners. And this is the classic 13-ounce Scrim gloss banner. It is the HP Prime 13-ounce gloss banner. So a classic gloss banner. Now, this gloss banner I'm standing on. You can't quite see, but I'm standing on one of the prints, which I always do, just walk over and make sure everything is cool. Our bond is excellent, fantastic outdoor durability, outdoor color fastness, instant dry off the printer, all the hallmarks of latex. Scrim banners are widely used, we know that. They're widely used because they're practical. I wouldn't call them, in all cases, elegant, but they get the job done. You have a chain link fence, you need to put a sign on it, you have grommets, you have a grommet maker, you hang it on the fence. Somewhere there's a piece of rebar and another piece of rebar, and between them is a span, and that span should be filled with a gloss 13-ounce Scrim banner. And why not use the HP Scrim banner? Because we do a lot of evaluating and testing, so you don't have to. Here's what you get with our Scrim banner. This is the 800 series printer. I've run several variations now. The first is I can walk up to the printer, type in HP, and then there it is. 13-ounce Prime Scrim banner, gloss, download. Now that it's in, the first thing I do is I run a closed loop color calibration test. Now, I printed an image first before I did that. And the reason I did is because when you load this banner, the printer will tell you, you might want to roll this forward. Listen to the printer. It's a smart move, especially for this Scrim banner. When you roll it forward, you're going to put some weight down here. You're going to have it out. And then I ran my first print. Everything ran smoothly, and I wasted a little. After that was done, I rolled it back, put it on the take-up reel, and then hit closed loop color calibrate. I'm color calibrating so that this printer, with this ink set, with these print heads at their age, it remembers it. It's like a color fingerprint. Do it when you get the media. That way, when you're printing forward, you have a reference point. And 2 weeks from now, if I want to print this again, and let's say I've changed out a print head, I can then go from obsolete to OK simply by hitting closed loop color calibration, and it references to the first time you did it. Using the closed loop calibration is critical, and one of the things I look for when I evaluate media is, will it print that chart and not give me any grief? It printed the chart, it looks perfect, no grief. Now the color calibration is done. Next thing I want to know, can you print from the pinch rollers? That is, after you use the wonderful cut feature on the printer and use the new rotary cutter, it will roll the material right back to the pinch rollers. And I know you're tempted because the printer told you to do one thing. That means you should try it at least the other way. So I did because, I have ink, I have print heads, I have text. And you know what? It had a head crash. It rolled forward, got into this curing zone, and whapperoo. You don't want that. So then I had to, the great thing, thermal print head, water-based, it recovers really well. Okay, it's not a piezo. You're not going to lose all these nozzles and all these other problems. And then even if you took out a couple nozzles, we'll replace them automatically with the optical drop detector. That's all done, mapped out, handled. So I restarted it. Brought it forward. I could sense that the material was a little soft because it was a little warm. I checked the settings. You're running about 212 degrees Fahrenheit or so. I'll get to the next experiment in a second, but what downloaded with the printer was a 6-pass 100% density, which is almost perfect for these 700 and 800 series printers to print on Scrim banner. I will then frequently make another mode, a 4-pass mode and an 8-pass mode. Now, in this case, what I did with the 8-pass mode is I noticed that the gloss banner, and almost all gloss banners do this, it gets a little dimpling in it. And that's something I'd like to avoid if possible, but it's the nature of a scrim banner, and it doesn't affect it hanging out on your chain link fence. Still, I built an 8-pass, lowered the temperature, kept the ink the same. So it's 8-pass, a little slower, 100% density, but now I'm bringing it down to like 190 degrees. Okay, now you want to check and make sure it's dry, because at some point you may have more ink than is possible. You might need to go to 90% density, but when you lower the temperature, you're going to try to remove as much of the dimpling as possible. Some was reduced, doesn't go away completely, and it won't on any gloss scrim banner. Matte, yes. Gloss, no. Just the nature of printing on gloss scrim banner, from my experience. Another thing you might consider, I didn't do it in this case, but there is a thing called the output platen protectors. I don't have one standing here in front of me, but the output platen protector, if you had put them over this platen, it may have allowed this banner to travel through the curing zone without getting soft from the temperature. And now we're reducing the temperature about 30% on these printers, but it's still temperature. The banner warms up, it gets soft, and it tries to stick on the platen. The sticking on the platen is what causes it to sort of fold on itself, and that's where you get whap. Whap is undesirable. The platen protectors might, I haven't had a chance to check yet, but they might and are worth an attempt to put on here and then see if it will print from the pinch rollers, because if it will glide across that platen, you're good to go. That's what was causing it. You could see it. I watched it carefully. We did this in a in a test environment. I watched it carefully, and it's printing, and it's printing, and it's printing, and it goes through the opening, and it's printing, and it's printing, and it's fine. And then inside this curing unit, it probably stuck a little, and then I could see it fold, and I went, oh, I couldn't stop it in time and had to restart the printer. So now I have an 8-pass with lower ink, lower temperature, to try to keep it a little smoother. My standard 6-pass looks great. Everything is dry. I would roll it out. Now, there is another tool, and I have it right here. You can order one of these, and this is the media feed accessory. Now, I don't know why they call it a media feed accessory, because it's a post-feed accessory. I still prefer to call it the media saver. And this attaches, it's essentially weights, right? And this attaches through little magnet flaps to the media and will allow you to roll it back right to the point of the platen. So your waste is a minimum. Probably more important on the 700 because of the distance to the take-up reel. If I were to roll this out and put it on the take-up reel, the distance is fairly short. But this, if you're just going to do one print, I use a table. I just put a table up here, attach it, roll it back, send the job. The weight of this on the ends of it acts as if a take-up reel, and it allows it to travel through that curing zone. Now, I have run into a couple banners. This is not one of them where, I mean, they're really soft. So when it gets warm in there, they try to stick really easily. And in those cases, output platen protector might be a necessity even with this, because otherwise it'll try to stick in there. That's my experience with this new 13-ounce gloss Scrim HP Prime. Everything about it loaded fine. It auto-loaded fine. It ran great. The color calibration's great. The image quality is perfect. Oh, by the way, my image this time, this is from the Cleveland Museum of Art. And no, I stand corrected. This is the Getty Museum. The John Paul Getty Museum in California has one of the best, the best, online open collections. And not only are they available, the resolution and the effort that went into scanning them and making sure the color quality and everything, they're spectacular, really. High marks to the folks, the technicians at the Getty Museum who did this, because they're absolutely beautiful. And that's one of the reasons I like to use them, is because I like to see how, these are wide format printers. I can't print this low res stuff. It looks terrible. I want to print high resolution images. Now, this is from, Ovid's Metamorphosis, this is, I'll just say it, the abduction of Europa. So Zeus, right? He comes in animal shapes. And he comes as a bull, he grabs Europa, and then like off they go, and then there's all these poor people sitting on the seaside saying, what just happened? Lament, hands in the air, we have an abduction. I think in the modern world, Zeus would probably be serving hard time someplace, probably justifiably. The trouble is he's a shapeshifter and, he's a god. And so, we just, oh boy, difficult to describe this painting. It's by Rembrandt. It's a beautiful painting. One of the great Dutch masters, high resolution at the Getty Museum. If you get a chance, look in their online collection and you can see this and you can really get a good view of it. I'm just using it to print Scrim banner, and I like to print full width and I like to print high resolution images, and I'm a huge advocate for what the major museums around the world are doing to bring fine art to ordinary people, like me, a kid from Detroit, gets to look at The Abduction of Europa by Rembrandt. On 13-ounce HP Prime Scrim banner, I explained some of the variances I did. If you want to bring that temperature down, just go a little slower, build your own mode, take advantage of the printer's onboard spectrophotometers. That's why they're there. But any color calibration, I do recommend putting it on the take-up reel or attaching the media feed accessory, because otherwise it has to go forward and it has to go backward to read it. And it's just one of those things that you want to have tension on it to make that process go smoothly. Thank you very much for your time, and goodbye.